Now, this power supply in particular, like I said, is a 600 watt, and it's modular. Now, there's 3 different types of power supplies. One is your standard power supply, just has a whole mess of cables coming out of one hole on the power supply. Nothing too big. It does make it a little bit more difficult when it comes to managing your cables, managing where everything goes. But all in all, gets the job done. The one we have here in front of me is called a modular full ATX motherboard, or power supply. I am quite dyslexic, so you'll have to excuse me if I start using terms improperly. Now, what modular means, what it means by modular is that it takes the main ones, the 2 most common that is almost always needed, is your 24 pin, which this one actually has a separator on it, so if your board happens to only be a 20 pin board, you can separate that piece off and just use the 20 pins. And it also has the 8 pin CPU. Now, the rest of these ones, if you look here, there's these little empty little sockets here, and that's for the modular. Now, where this one goes, and it's going to vary a little bit by case. There's cases that are split into 2 pieces, so you have the power supply on one side and the motherboard and whatnot on the other. That's for cooling purposes. This one happens to be a bottom mount power supply, which means that it's going to be on the lower side of the computer. It's going to be underneath everything, and you're not going to have to really do much for it except for just install and go. Now, usually when it comes to these, you just slide them into place. So, and once again, they usually come with their own little case screws. And this one actually also comes with its own zip ties, so you can try to manage your cables even better. Now, unlike the motherboard, where you should do one at a time, these ones are pretty much, you line it up and go. However, it would still be prudent to think ahead and do one loosely so that you can align the rest. This goes in like it should. And there we go. I'll talk about cable routing and where everything goes in a minute here. Going around the case, I can show you each of the different pieces now. Here's the RAM, main CPU connector, secondary 8-pin CPU connector. These are all PCIe ports and PCI ports. What these are called are 4-pin connectors. These are mainly used for like your fans, and there's more of them here because this thing is actually loaded with fans. It's got a total of 4 of them. One front side that has an LED on it, 2 top, 1 back. So this thing has plenty of air coolant. These cables here, and I'll have to actually unwrap them to show you them all, but these all are going for everything from your grounding straps to, you got your HD light on the front, reset switches, power switches, and another LED light it looks like as well. The other front panel I showed you earlier will also be installed. And these SATA connections, which are all on the back, I won't be able to show you the ones on the board because it's already installed. But if you look carefully, this is a SATA data and that's a SATA power. They are obviously different, they are obviously there. So there's not really any explanation as to what's what. Coming down here, these are your eSATAs and USB 3.0s. Got 2 USB 3.0s here, and I believe these are 2.0s as well as another pair of 2.0s here. This is considered a legacy port. What that means is that this port was designed for those of us that still have the little round PS2 ports, and that is there for that purpose only. The CMOS chip is actually there to reset the chipset memory, and that's for if you need to reset the computer because of a bad system or whatnot. I'm sure one of my classmates will go through that again. We'll go through here again on here. This is a CMOS battery. Once again, something else will be gone through. But all the cables have been, I've shown you everything that we have. I've shown you everything that goes with this now. So I'm going to let the rest of my classmates handle the rest of this operation, and they'll be able to take care, discuss everything from there. Have fun.